Hello everybody! Welcome back to some more Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This episode is a continuation of the last episode, where in the previous episode we played Waves 1 and 2 of the Booster Course Pass DLC, beating all the time trial ghosts. And if you don't know, Waves 1 and 2 of the Booster Course Pass DLC are the Golden Dash Cup and the Lucky Cat Cup, which makes up Wave 1, and Wave 2 is the Turnip Cup and the Propeller Cup. In today's episode, we're going to be doing the next waves, which are Wave 3, which is the Rock Cup and the Moon Cup, and Wave 4, which is the Fruit Cup and the Boomerang Cup. But before we can play those tracks, we have to go back and change our character, because we are not going to play the same character as 2 episodes in a row, as that would be a little bit lame. So today, we are going to be playing as Birdo. But before we do that, I want to fix the character icons, as seeing Black Yoshi and Blue Shy Guy just kind of bugging me. I know it doesn't really matter, but I just like to see the default character colors. That's just my personal preference. You might have a different opinion. You might think it's cool to see different color characters, but personally, I just like to see the classic colors. So anyways, as I said, we're going back and we're playing Birdo today. Normally, I would go and play Light Blue Birdo next, but since we just played as Blue Shy Guy in the previous episode, I think it would be a little bit repetitive to play as similar character colors, so instead we're just going to skip Light Blue Birdo and we're going to play Red Birdo. Which I know that Red Birdo and regular Birdo look very similar. In fact, their skin and bow colors are just flipped. So instead of having pink skin, Birdo has red skin, and instead of having a red bow, Red Birdo has a pink bow. So it's not that much of a difference, but it is still a subtle difference. Now for our kart, we could just go with the red pipe frame again, but I don't want to do that as that's a little bit boring and repetitive, so I'm going to try something different. But I don't really know how many red karts we have. We could just use something like a standard bike, which honestly might be a good backup if we can't find any other red karts. But we could also try the sneaker, which has a little bit of blue in it. And honestly, I think it looks pretty cool, so we'll go with the sneaker. And I already see the Crimson Slim tires down here, which are red tires, so we'll use that. And for our glider, let's just go for the standard Super Glider. So Birdo is normally a medium-ish character. With this kart combination, Birdo is leading a little bit more to the heavy side. But I think that'll be fine. Hopefully it won't be too difficult. And as I said in the introduction, we're going to be starting with Wave 3 of the Booster Course Pass DLC, which of course is the Rock Cup. And every single Booster Course Pass DLC course, cup I should say, always starts with a city course. And the city course of the Rock Cup is Tour London Loop. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Frank, the Mario. Let's see how we do. So London Loop is not my favorite city track. I don't enjoy it all that much. You can see the layout is very complicated, which makes you think that maybe it's like a really fun city, but just because it has a complicated layout doesn't mean it's all that fun. And honestly, I think the complicated layout makes it less fun, because while yes, there is like a lot of cool turns and stuff, and you can see some cool things like London double-decker buses, it's just the layout is a lot to manage, and even the shortcut here, which is really cool, requires 2 mushrooms. So that means we're only going to be able to take it once this whole time trial. And then we won't be able to take a shortcut on either lap 2 or lap 3. We'll have to pick one where we skip one of the shortcuts, because we won't have enough mushrooms, because that shortcut takes 2 mushrooms. Which makes the time trial in general just quite a bit less interesting. And not only that, not really much all that happens. All we do is drive through some city and some park area, which I guess is a little bit cool, but honestly it's not that unique, especially since there are a lot of other city tracks, and just a lot of other European city tracks in general. So it just doesn't feel all that unique in my opinion, which is why I don't really enjoy this course all that much. But we're very close to the Nintendo Staff Ghost. The difference is he took a shortcut on lap 2, we did not take a shortcut on lap 2. So we can save our mushroom for lap 3 instead. And I think I saw him use it here on this little cut, which isn't the biggest shortcut in the world, but it is a shortcut, so I'm going to copy him and use it there. And the chain chomp kind of got in our way, but it's also going to be in his way, so it works out fine. Bumped into the wall there a little bit, which is very disappointing, because I'm going to lose quite a bit of speed. As you can see, the Staff Ghost has nearly caught up to me. He's actually almost past me now. I don't know how he's going so fast. I guess he just must have a higher top speed than I do. which you know is not a good thing. Stop, come back, why is he going so fast? Oh, I passed him though. I guess I just had more optimal drifting. Go, 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 go. Quite a bit farther ahead than him. I think I should win. I do. Okay, so that was a very close first race to start off the episode. Very intense. But we did manage to win. So the next course that we're going to be doing is GBA Boo Lake. And we are going to be racing against the King Boo. Isn't that fitting? Who's being controlled by Nintendo Re. So here we go, facing against the Nintendo staff ghost, who is a ghost as well, on a ghost track. Isn't that cool? Just a whole amalgamation of ghosts. A lot of ghosts. And Boo Lake is a really cool track, because unlike London Loop that we just played, which I have an opinion that it's a very unenjoyable track, this course is kind of the opposite. It's underwater, so it's really cool. Fun fact, this is the first course in the Booster Course Pass to have underwater driving. And it's got a lot of elevation changes thanks to anti-gravity. It wasn't the first course in the Booster Course Pass to have anti-gravity, it was actually the second, as the first one was Sky High Sunday, which we saw in the last episode. And it's just a really cool layout in general. And not only that, this is a course from Mario Kart Super Circuit, which was the third Mario Kart game, and a very simple, traditional, flat Mario Kart game, so kind of like SNES Mario Circuit 3. But the difference with this and SNES Mario Circuit 3 is that this course has got a lot of elevation and it's got a cool background, while SNES Mario Circuit 3 is just a flat, boring track. So you can tell that this course, Boo Lake, for whatever reason, had a lot more effort put into it than Mario Circuit 3. And for that, I appreciate it. It's a really cool track. And it's also a little bit difficult. Granted, it's not super hard, it's not like mind-blowingly hard, but it's got a little bit of difficulty to keep you on your toes, and I enjoy that. And it's also a pretty short course, which makes it feel a little bit bittersweet. It's sweet because it's such a fun course, but it's bitter because you don't get to play it for that long. It's only 1 minute and 30 seconds. But there we go, we won, and that was really fun. So the next course that we're going to be doing is 3DS Rock Mountain. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Fasuti, the Morton. So now we're playing Rock Mountain. And Rock Mountain is a course which I'll say suffers from, let's call it, Booster Course Pass syndrome. And basically what that is because this is a Booster Course Pass course, it suffers from having bad graphics. Because the Booster Course Pass was essentially, the whole reason it was created, other than putting cool courses into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, was to preserve the tracks from Mario Kart Tour. Because Mario Kart Tour is a mobile game, and eventually, it's inevitable, it'll get shut down. It's currently still playable, although it no longer receives the frequent updates that it used to receive. However, eventually, it'll be taken off the App Store and other mobile game stores, and it'll no longer be playable. It'll eventually get shut down. And then, there would be no way at all to play the city tracks, or the tour exclusive tracks, like Ninja Hideaway, or like New York Minute. Any of those city tracks would all just be gone and lost forever. So the Booster Course Pass was created to have a way that you'd be able to play those courses whenever you want in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But since they were porting the tracks over from Mario Kart Tour, the earlier ways of the Booster Course Pass ended up with a lot worse graphics. And some courses do a very good job of hiding the fact that they were ported from a phone game, such as Waluigi Pinball and Blue Lake, which we just played. They look amazing. But some courses, like Rock Mountain, Toad Circuit, they didn't come out as good. And they look quite worse compared. It's not necessarily a bad thing, It doesn't make the biggest difference in the world. The course is still fun to play, but it's just kind of sad to see how some courses just look so much better than the other courses for really no reason. But as you can see here, we have 2 mushrooms left, and I purposely didn't take the shortcut on lap 2. That's because if you have multiple mushrooms, you can drive over here off the main path and take a really cool big shortcut just like that. I don't know how much faster it is, but it's really cool, so I think that's the main aspect for it. Not that it's a good shortcut, but it's a cool shortcut. And we're now approaching the end, and Morton is pretty close behind, but not close enough to stop us from getting a victory. So now, we're moving on to the final course in the Rock Cup, Wii Maple Treeway. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Pavel, the Daisy. On this course, if you look to the right, you can see a shortcut. Just straight away a shortcut. And we, as well as the staff ghost, will instantly be taking this shortcut. It's a really cool shortcut that normally if you're doing a regular race or Grand Prix, you wouldn't be able to access it until lap 2 or 3. But because we're doing time trials, we can just access it right away immediately. And it's cool because I'm pretty sure no other course has a shortcut, a mushroom shortcut specifically, so early on the race compared to this. I think as soon as you start, you don't even take a turn, and you have a shortcut available to you. That's just wild. So the ghost is a little bit behind us, not too far behind that I feel comfortable, but he's definitely a little bit behind. We've got a tiny bit of a lead. We can't see him right now. Probably he took an alternate path. He's in front of us. I guess the alternate path he took was faster. I guess I shouldn't just drive straight next lap. I should try doing something more unique instead. If we're lucky, though, we might get a mushroom out of one of these leaves. I don't know if that can happen in time trials. I do know for a fact it can happen in versus races. Different items can pop out of there, like mushrooms or bananas. I can understand if they get rid of the leaves, or the items coming out of the leaves in time trials, though. As they do leave some stuff out of time trials, like in Coconut Mall, the cars don't move. But that was done for a different reason, I believe. So I'm guessing this wasn't done to the fact that they didn't originally have leaves when this course came out, or they didn't originally have items when this course came out. I'm 99% sure when Wave 3 came out, there were still mushrooms and bananas hidden in those leaves. Because that's just a staple part of the course. It was like that even in the original back in Mario Kart Wii. So I don't know why they would not include that. But also some people wouldn't understand why they didn't include the cars moving in Mario Kart Wii's Coconut Mall either. Because in the original Mario Kart Wii, the cars still moved. So you know what? If you're thinking that right now, you have a fair point. So we're quite far behind Nintendo Pavel, which is not good, because we want to win, and it's going to be hard to catch up. In fact, I don't even know if we can catch up. It might be too late. But I'll still try my best. We got close, but it wasn't enough. Unfortunately, we lose. So I guess we'll just have to try that again. So now we're back. We have a rematch. Will we be able to win this time? Hopefully. So we are still a little bit behind him because he got a better rocket start, and he also didn't bump into the wall as much as I did. But I'm hoping we'll be able to catch up somehow. Would you look at that? We've nearly caught up already. I guess maybe I got a better mini turbo or something. There is a half pipe up there, but I'm going to avoid it because, surprisingly, taking the half pipe is slower. It does give you a few coins, but this course has plenty of coins on the track, so I don't really need to go up there to get the coins. I think it's better to just avoid the half pipe altogether, which is kind of sad because the half pipe is really cool, but I'm pretty sure it is slower. So now we have a bit of a more comfortable lead, which is what I like to see. Oh, that wasn't good, though. I bumped into the wall. That definitely slowed me down quite a bit. Now the ghost is going to catch up a little bit. Not too much. He's still a little bit behind, but he's closer now, and I don't like that. I like to have a nice, comfortable, giant gap between us. Just like when I'm playing a normal race. So we're going to be heading into the final lap here with a little bit less than a 1 second lead. I just got to make sure I don't screw up. No bumping into walls or anything like that. That's bumping into a wall. I did it again, and I don't know why. In the exact same way. In probably the exact same spot. Excuse me, Wiggler. Please don't get in my way. Thank you very much. Okay, we still got our lead. That's good. We're coming up on the end. I think we might have this in the bag. And there we go. Victory is ours. So now, we're moving on to the next cup. We've completed the Rock Cup, we've beaten all the time trial ghosts. We're now moving on to the Moon Cup, which starts with another city track being Tour Berlin Byways. And we are going to be racing against Nintendo Sophia, the Donkey Kong. Berlin Byways is another city track that, just like London Loop, I don't enjoy too much. Because also just like London Loop, it is a boring European city where we drive on a road with a very complex layout. Now this course is a little bit better than London Loop, because A, it's got a much more upbeat music track and it makes me feel more happy, and B, it's also got cars on the road, which actually move and they're obstacles. Ow, which I like to see, because as you saw right there, I ran into it and makes it quite a lot more difficult. And now the staff ghost is very far ahead. At this point, I don't even know if I can catch up. Look at how huge that gap is. One car can certainly ruin your day. And honestly, I'm not even going to take the risk. Let's just restart, because I think that's going to be it. I don't think we could win. I think running into a car just kind of made it so, okay, you have to start over. Here we go, second try. Hopefully, we could not run into a car this time. That would be appreciated. So we're doing much better this time, mostly just due to the fact that we didn't run into a car. But interestingly enough, lap 1 on this course does not have a shortcut. So we'll just have to hope that either lap 2 or lap 3 has multiple shortcuts for us to take, because otherwise we'll just have to use our mushroom on a boring intersection. Go up that ramp, it's a little bit slower, but we do get a coin, so I do think it is worth it. Be careful, avoid the cars. There we go. You have to be very mindful, have to give them their space. Just like in real life. Ooh, don't do that in real life. That's very dangerous. You're probably gonna end up in a car accident if you do that. So now in this park section, there are a lot of shortcuts for us to take. Well, maybe not a lot, but there's this big one right here. So I just gotta hope that lap 3 has 2 shortcuts for us to take, 'cause otherwise our spare mushroom is just gonna get wasted in a straight section, and that's not interesting at all. Here's a shortcut. We just gotta hope that there's another one somewhere around here. Ha, we're back in this park section, so we can take the same shortcut again. Granted, it's not the most interesting thing in the world to take the same shortcut twice, but we do that a lot normally on regular tracks, so I think it's very acceptable. And not only that, there's no other shortcut to use it on, so I think it's fine. We ended up winning. There we go, a new record, just like we always get. And we have beaten this staff ghost. So now, we're moving on to the next course in the Moon Cup, which is DS Peach Gardens. And we are racing against, funnily enough, Princess Peach, who's controlled by Nintendo Marie. Let's see how we do. So as I mentioned in the previous episode, I talked about on Calamari Desert, I'll just tell you again in case you haven't seen that episode, how I really liked how that course and Peach Gardens were courses that added a changing lap gimmick, just like the Mario Kart Tour City tracks. And Peach Gardens is the other course, as I mentioned, it's Calamari Desert and Peach Gardens. There were 2. So we get to experience what this is like. And for those of you who have somehow not seen what the special gimmick is, on lap 3 of the remake of DS Peach Gardens, this one in particular, we drive the course backwards. Which is just a really cool thing that they didn't need to add, but they added it. Just because it was a cool idea. Just like how in N64 Calamari Desert, they added you being able to drive on the train tracks, which is another really cool thing. And I like how on some of the old courses, granted not very many of them, only 2 out of the 48, well, not all of them were new, but only 2 out of the 48 Booster Course Pass DLC courses they have utilize the new tour gimmick. Granted, all the Tour City tracks do that, but they do that because there were different variants of them and they all have to be combined into one track to preserve them. So it makes sense that they did that. But these courses have no extra variants, they don't need to be preserved. So you might wonder, why did Nintendo do this? Just for fun, that's why. And I think that's a very great reason. Just to spice up these old tracks with a little bit of variety, so they feel like new tracks. That was a horrible place to bump, even though they aren't new tracks. And now I'm behind. I had a big lead, but I no longer have the lead. And here we go, the arrows are telling us to go this way, so now we go backwards. Isn't that cool? And if you were doing a versus race, if you were behind someone, you would, or if you were like really far behind, you would be able to see somebody there. Or if you're really far ahead, you'd be able to see somebody there in like a lower place. So I think that's cool. So let's say you're in first place and you've got a huge lead. Somebody with a bullet bill in last place could just ram into you heading the other way. It's hilarious. Or you could be the one with the bullet bill ramming into somebody in first place. And I think that's just really cool. So I don't have a mushroom here for the shortcut. I gotta hope that the staff ghost doesn't have one either. But it seems like they did. Very unfortunate. So that's gonna end up with us losing. But it gives us an excuse to play this really fun course again, so you know what? I'm all for it. Second try. Can we win? Hopefully. But let's find out. So the computer, interestingly enough, or the ghost I should say, specifically only used their mushroom here on this one shortcut every single lap. I could do that as well to be as optimal as possible, but that's not really interesting. I like to mix it up every once in a while. As you saw on the last lap, I took a different shortcut instead of that same shortcut I did, on the first 2 laps. Because taking the same shortcut every single time isn't the most interesting. Granted, some courses only have one mushroom shortcut, so you're forced to take it every single lap. But if I have different options, I like to mix it up a little bit and take my other options, just for some variety, so I don't bore myself. So for example, on this lap, I am going to skip this shortcut and go around it, so that I can save my mushroom for a different shortcut. I don't know if this is a good idea, as the other shortcut might be like a much smaller shortcut than this shortcut, but I'm going to do it anyways, just because it's fun. And it doesn't seem like I'm too far behind, so I don't think it was the worst idea in the world. I'm just going to use it right over here. And now I've got a tiny bit of a lead, so I think it was maybe a good idea. Oh gosh, the staff coach just caught up. That's not good. I gotta hope I'm faster than them, but we seem to be around the same speed, as neither of us is gaining any, like, ground or losing any ground. But I guess I must have better drifting ability, because I passed them, and then I proceeded to bump into a wall and lose my lead, so maybe I don't have better drifting abilities. I gotta go fast. Come on, go, go, go! We can do it! It's so close! Go, go, go! Look at how close we are! Come on, we can do it! Go, 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 go! Did we win? Oh, we did! Well, that was really close, but we managed to win! And that's exciting! So we don't have to do that again. We can just move straight on to the next course. Isn't that great? So the next course that we're doing is Tour Merry Mountain, which weirdly enough, just like Tour Ninja Hideaway, it doesn't have the prefix on it, which is weird, because Merry Mountain was definitely in Mario Kart Tour before it appeared in the Booster Course Pass. So it's not like a Sky High Sunday thing where it debuted in the Booster Course Pass first, so therefore it's an original track and not a tour track, because it came to Tour after the Booster Course Pass. No. Merry Mountain's just like Tour Ninja Hideaway, where it was clearly in Tour first, and then it was added to the Booster Course Pass later. So I don't know why it's missing that prefix. It's weird, but we'll just have to roll with it. And we are going to be racing against Nintendo Elena, the Shy Guy. Let's see how we do. Hopefully, we could start off with a bigger rocket boost. About even, because I've been getting a little bit of poorer rocket boosts lately, which is not a good thing. And Merry Mountain is a very cool theme. It's like a Christmas mountain. You're heading up, and then at the end, you just drive straight down. In theory, super fast, but in reality, it's not that fast. And it seems like it would be such a nice time, right? No, it's not. It's not that interesting of a course. Sure, it's got this really cool shortcut here, but that's the only cool shortcut it has. All the other shortcuts are kind of boring. And this section, as I said, in theory would be really fast, but it's not. It's boring. It's just a straight line that you drive on. So not really much interesting happens on this course. Maybe if they added some more speed boost to that section to make it a little bit faster, and added some cooler things to do while you drive, it might be interesting. But it's just kind of a boring course right now. There's not really much to do on it. Or at least that's my opinion. It seemed like a cool idea, but I feel like it just wasn't executed perfectly. So it just kind of feels a bit boring at the moment. But it's not the worst. It's fine. Oh, and I accidentally drove it into the snow a little bit. And there's also a cool half pipe, which you should never take, because it is super, super, super slow. You lose so much time taking it, and I forgot to take the shortcut. Oopsie daisy. I'll just have to use my mushroom to speed up this section instead. Because I should have used it to take the shortcut, which is super fast, but I just forgot about it. Because sometimes when I'm talking, I just forget about what I'm supposed to be doing. So instead of going up there like we did on the last lap, we'll just head on this simple section, because it's a lot easier. And it's also where the staff ghost is going. but I screwed it up a little bit, so now I'm behind the Staff Ghost, which is not good, because that means I am losing. The Staff Ghost, for whatever reason, isn't taking the shortcut, so you know what, that's fine by me. Maybe they also just made a mistake like I did on the second lap. Who knows, everybody makes mistakes, but it doesn't seem to matter. Well, actually, it mattered a lot, because that one mistake that they made ended up giving us the victory. So now, we're moving on to the final course in the Moon Cup, and the final course in Wave 3, and the entirety of the first half of the Booster Course Pass, which is 3DS Rainbow Road. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Mizuo? I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm sorry. Anyways, the Staff Ghost is a Rosalina. Let's begin. So 3DS Rainbow Road is a cool, stellar, absolutely amazing drive, and I love it. It's a really cool course. It is a little bit easy, or at least for my standards, but you know, it's just awesomeness makes up for it. Just look at the amazing background, and it's not like it's boring and you're just driving. Well, yes, you are just driving. There's lots of things to do. There's trick ramps, there's like, at many parts, no guardrails at all, and it still poses a little bit of a challenge. Not as much challenge as you'd expect from a Rainbow Road, but there's still a challenge. So you know, I think it's a cool course. It does miss out on having, it could have like a cool few shortcuts, but also in general, Rainbow Road is not really a course known for having shortcuts. So it's acceptable, in my opinion, for it to not have a shortcut. Or at least, not any, like, obvious shortcuts. Oh dear! Oh dearie dear dear. And since this course has no obvious shortcuts, I'm just gonna use my mushroom to get back up to top speed. Because that's an easy way to get back up to top speed after blundering, just using a mushroom. It is obviously better to just not fall off in the first place, but if you do fall off, using a mushroom is a decent recovery option. Because otherwise you're going to be going at a really slow speed while waiting to accelerate, but just using the mushroom, if you have it, is a great idea. And we're on the moon, isn't that cool? And it's anti-gravity as well. We're in the final lap, we're a little bit behind the Staff Ghost, which is understandable. After all, we did fall off. But hopefully, we can make a little bit of a comeback. Come on, we're so close. The end is right there. Let's use the mushroom, go, go, go! Go, 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 go! And I think we got it! There we go! We win! So now, we're moving on to Wave 4 of the Booster Course Pass DLC, and of course, just like the start of every cup, we're going to be starting with another city track. And once again, it's another European city track. Funny how that's working. But anyways, it's Tour Amsterdam Drift. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Mark the Daisy. Let's see how it goes. Even though Amsterdam Drift is a European city course, it doesn't really feel like the standard European city course, and I'll explain why. Because with London Loop and Berlin Byways in Wave 3, the European city tracks were kind of just giving us the vibe of bland and boring and not interesting, and gray, because we were in a city, but Amsterdam Drift just instantly destroys that stereotype we might have had about boring city tracks, because we're in a giant, green, amazing meadow, and there's a shortcut there that I thought was a shortcut that actually isn't a shortcut, and makes me look like a fool, but pretend that part didn't happen. Amsterdam Drift works really hard to separate itself from the stereotype of boring city tracks. It's colorful, even the streets are colorful with this little bit of a pink color. It's got a really nice upbeat vibe, kind of like Berlin Byways, but unlike Berlin Byways, it's also got a lot of color to match it and unique varieties of areas. First we went to a field, then we're going into like this moat or sewer section. I don't even really know what it is. It feels a little bit out of place for a city, but I don't know. Maybe it does a good job of representing Amsterdam. I've never been there, so I would have no idea what Amsterdam is like. But anyways, as I was saying, it does a very good job to separate itself from a standard city. It's very interesting. It's a very cool course, and I enjoy it. Unfortunately, we are probably going to lose because of my horrible blunder at the start. We are now 7 seconds behind the Ghost. But maybe if we're lucky, they can make a horrible blunder too. I highly doubt it, but it's possible. And look at this, we're in a beautiful tulip garden. As I said, Amsterdam Drift does an amazing job to try and separate itself from the boring city tracks. And I think it works. It's slightly less boring than like Tokyo Blur or London Loop or Berlin Byways. It's a pretty decent course. And we're going to have to be doing it again because unfortunately we lost because at the beginning I thought there was a shortcut where there wasn't a shortcut and they ended up falling off the edge. But you know what? It's fine. Let's just do it again. Here we go. Second try. Let's see how well we can do. We'll probably do a lot better since I won't go flying off the edge at the wrong section. So I guess I'll just use my mushroom over here for this shortcut, as I thought there would be like grass over there so I could like skip the bridge. But no, it was a pit into a moat. So it was a bad idea to do that. But now you, the viewers, know to not do that. You'll learn from my mistakes instead of learning from your own mistakes. Which, you know, sometimes that's a good thing to do. Learn from others. You do not have to make the same mistake if somebody else has already made it for you. So we're still a little bit behind the Staff Ghost, which is not a good thing. But I hope we'll be able to catch up. We've got a lot more hope now than we did when we were behind them 7 seconds. How many seconds are we behind them now? I don't know. We're about to find out when we pass this lap section. Only 1 second, so you know what? That's a lot more optimistically looking forward. We could definitely make a comeback. We're heading into the beautiful tulip garden once again. And it seems like the Staff Ghost does not take these shortcuts, so you know what? I'll take the advantage of that and take them for them. And now we're in the lead. That's a very good thing. And we're coming across the end, and I think that we have this in the bag. There we go. It just took not falling off at the beginning. So the next course that we're going to be doing is GBA Riverside Park. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Frank, the Toad. Let's see how we do. Alright, so here we are, Riverside Park, another course from Mario Kart Super Circuit that, just like Boo Lake, I think looks really cool. It's got an amazing background, and it's clear that a lot of effort was put into this course to make it look really nice, even though they didn't need to do that. And there's some elevation changes, which I always think is a nice thing to see with cool trick boosts. And it's even got a really cool cave section that wasn't in the original version of the course. And I just love all the attention to details they added. It just looks really cool. I mean, look at this cave section. This wasn't even in the original version, nor was the elevation, or, as we're about to see, the giant jump through the waterfall. This was just a boring turn to the end of the course originally. They didn't need to add that, but they did add that, and it makes the course's ending feel so much more epic and grand, and I just love that. So Nintendo Frank is doing a good job at matching our pace. We're like neck and neck, basically. Yikes! Oh, but he didn't run into the Patooey Piranha Plant, and I did. So I think I'm going to be losing this. But that's fine. This is a short course, just like GBA Boo Lake. So I'm perfectly fine with playing it again. I think this course is really fun, even though it's simple. You can't go wrong with a simple, cool course every once in a while. So it's clear that we're not going to win this. He's got too big of a lead because I ran into the Patooey Piranha Plant on lap 2. But you know, it's not that big of a deal. We'll just play it again. It's just a minute and 40 seconds of our life that we're losing. Let's just do this again. So here we go. Second try. Hopefully we can not run into a Patooey Piranha Plant, and then we'll be able to win. So we're doing well. We've got a lead. We've got a decent amount of coins that we didn't have to go out of our way for. And you know, we haven't run into a Patooey Piranha Plant yet, so far all of my goals have been met. We just have to maintain this for the other 2 laps. Unfortunately, this course only really has this one shortcut we could take. So, while yes, it is boring that we've taken that shortcut 6 times now, that is clearly the biggest shortcut on this track. And I'm probably just going to be sticking to that one, because all the other ones are so much shorter. It's just such a bad idea to use those mushroom shortcuts instead of that one. That one's just so much bigger. It's like not even a choice. You just have to take it. And I don't know how the ghost passes all of a sudden. We were like pretty far ahead of him, and now he's just ahead of us. I don't know what happened here. We can't let this happen. Come on, go, go, go. How did he pass us? When did this happen? How did he just do so much better? I don't know. But I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Well, I guess we're playing this a 3rd time. Oh well. So here we go. 3rd try. Hopefully, we can do good. I don't know what went wrong in the last attempt. That looked pretty good to me, but he just suddenly zoomed past us on lap 2, and I don't know how that happened. But he did. So now we're back here again. Maybe he had more coins than us or something. Probably that was the problem. Probably I didn't collect enough coins. So you know what? Maybe I should try collecting more coins this time. And once again on lap 2, he suddenly just passes by us somehow. That's crazy. How did he do this? How did he gain so much speed? I don't know. Come on. We're so close. I know we can do it. Go, go, go. We're so close. Ah, he must have taken the shortcut better than I did or something. Alright, I guess we're doing this a 4th time. I can tell you guys are probably getting bored of me watching over this. So, we'll just skip to the end where I beat him. Ooh! Oh, all right. That was really, really close. As you saw there, that was like to the last millisecond or something. How close was that? Oh my goodness, look at how close that was. That was like not even 0.5, 0.05 seconds difference. Holy cow, that was really close. Not even, that was to be exact, a 0.041 second difference. That's insane. But it only took me 5 tries total, so I did one off camera, and then this one was a successful attempt. But jeez. Yeesh, that was hard. I don't know why that one in particular was so hard, but that one in particular was definitely the hardest one we've done so far. It's all the jungle ones I've been struggling on. I struggled on Riverside Park. I struggled on DK Jungle like a little while ago when we did those. I don't know why I'm struggling on the jungle so much, but I am. But anyways, we're moving far away from the jungle. We're now moving to Wii DK Summit, and we are going to be racing against Nintendo Fasuti, the Donkey Kong. Let's see how we do. DK Summit is a very snowy track, so it's a very different location than Riverside Park. So hopefully I won't be struggling on it, as this course is not a jungle. Although it is a DK track, and DK does have a lot of jungles, so maybe I still will struggle with it. I don't know. Hopefully not, though. And this course has a lot of half pipes, as you can see. And these half pipes are really fun to take. Even though they might not be the most optimal way to finish this course, I think they're really cool, so I'm going to take them either way. Alright, we're pretty close. He's going to go up to take the half pipe, so we'll be able to see which way is faster. It seems that the half pipe is faster because he zoomed past us. So next lap, I should go and take that half pipe because I think it is faster. As we just saw there, we saw scientific evidence that it's faster. And I am slightly ahead though, so you know, maybe it's not faster. But I'm going to try it anyways. Let's see how fast it is. And this lap, I'm not going to take the half pipe. I'm just going to drive regular, which is the really boring way. We've got half pipes surrounding us on both sides, and we're not taking it. It's so lame. And unfortunately, that shortcut right there, while very small, is basically the only mushroom shortcut on this course. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to take that every single lap, just like on Riverside Park. Well, Riverside Park had some variety. Oh, I was supposed to take the half pipe, I forgot. I'll have to take it next lap. DK Summit is basically no variety, other than these little snow turfs you could drive through, which really isn't a shortcut. That's just an obstacle. There's nowhere else to use your mushroom. So I'm just going to have to be using it in that one section. And hopefully this lap I'll remember to take the half pipe. If I don't, I'll feel very silly. But you know, I feel very silly a lot of the time, so it wouldn't be too much of a difference compared to what I'm used to. Alright, remember, take the half pipe. Take the half pipe. There we go, we took the half pipe, and we are just barely slightly ahead, so it seems that taking that half pipe is an optimal strategy. And where is he? Is he... Oh no! How did he pass us at the end? Oh, that's awful. I guess we'll have to do it again. How close was that? That was even closer than the Riverside Park. 0.005 seconds. Oh, that's so mean. But we have to do it again as we did not win. So here we go. We're trying this again. Hopefully we can win. We were so close to winning. I can't believe we lost that. That's so unfortunate. So I'm going to take the fun, epic half pipes again. Because honestly, who wouldn't? Who in their right mind would drive around these really cool half pipes when you could take them with absolutely no loss whatsoever? In fact, they might even be faster. I don't know. So I am definitely going to take those half pipes probably every single lap because they're cool. Now this half pipe, I might not take every single lap, but I will take it this lap because it is cool. And I'll take these half pipes too, because they're just right over here. You don't have to go out of your way for them. It's great. I love half pipes that you don't have to go out of your way for. They're just so much fun. So there we go. He's pretty close, but we are still ahead of him, and a lot more noticeably ahead than last time. Okay, I think we still have a lead. Yes, we do. Just don't fall, because that would be an awful way to lose the lead. Okay, we are still ahead of him. Around the same amount ahead of him, but it's still ahead of him. We just gotta not screw up on this lap, and then we're good, and then we win, and we can move on to the next course. Because it's been a pretty long episode. But honestly, all of these time trial episodes have been pretty long, so I've been getting used to the longer episodes. But probably a lot of you have not gotten used to these longer, like, hour-plus episodes. Some of them aren't an hour, some of them are only like 40 minutes. But that's still decently long, especially for Mario Kart. Go, 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 I can see Donkey Kong right there. It's very close. We can't let him win. Go, go, okay, there's no way he can pass us now, right? Yeah, there we go. We win, and we can move on to the next course. So the next course that we're going to be doing is Yoshi's Island. And while this course is from Mario Kart Tour, just like Ninja Hideaway and Merry Mountain, unlike those tracks where they're missing the prefix, it actually makes sense that this version doesn't have the prefix that says Tour, because this course was in the exact same situation that Sky High Sundae was in, where it appeared in the Booster Course Pass before it appeared in Mario Kart Tour. As such, it makes sense that Sky High Sundae and Yoshi's Island doesn't have the prefix, but it still doesn't make sense that Ninja Hideaway and Merry Mountain doesn't say Tour. It should say Tour on it. But anyways, we're moving on to Yoshi's Island, and we're racing against... Oh. Actually, I was expecting it to be Yoshi. But you know, I guess it makes sense that we're racing against Nintendo Skip the Baby Mario, as in the Yoshi's Island games, which is obviously the course that this is based... Or the game that this course is based off of. The original one specifically, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. I have no idea why it's called Super Mario World 2. It doesn't even really make sense. But anyways, Baby Mario was a big part of it. Because while you didn't play as Baby Mario, you played as the Yoshis. Basically, you had to protect Baby Mario the whole game. He would ride on your back, and if you get hit, you would lose Baby Mario, and you had to rescue him. So in a way, you kind of did play as Baby Mario. And this course, being based off of the Yoshi's Island series, has a lot of references to the original Yoshi's Island game. The enemies and obstacles on this course, for the most part, all appear from Yoshi's Island. The coins that you have Yoshi heads on them, which represent the coins from Yoshi's Island. It's just amazing. There's so many cool references into it. It's just such a fun course as well to play. I love it. And there's even this cool shortcut that was added based off of the Yoshi's Island games, where if you hit that flying cloud with your head... I took that shortcut very poorly. I should have cut through it better, like the Baby Mario did. But whatever, if you hit that cloud, you would cause a flying bridge to show up. Which is based off the Yoshi's Island games, as if you would throw an egg at those flying clouds, it would cause different things to summon. It could give you more eggs, it could give you lives, it could give you coins, or it could even summon pathways, such as flying bridges. So it's just such a cool little Easter egg to the original Yoshi's Island game, and I love that so much. I just love that reference. This is such an amazing course. If you can't tell by how much I'm just gushing on about it, this is one of my favorite courses of the Booster Course Pass DLC. It's just so cool. And I actually hit the cloud this time, so the bridge gets to show up, and we get to fly up here, just like Nintendo Skip is doing as well, and skip that mushroom shortcut. Unfortunately, I'm not playing as well as Nintendo Skip is. I'm playing quite a bit poorly, actually. So I'm a second behind him. If I was a minute behind him, I'd be playing super poorly. So I've got 2 mushrooms left. I'll use one of them here, just to gain myself a little bit of extra ground. Nearly caught up. And I have this other one as kind of a backup if I miss the cloud. I can just use this to hopefully do a better job at mushrooming through the shortcut. But no, I hit the cloud, so I can just kind of hold on to this mushroom and use it as well. I can just go like this and use the mushroom while on the shortcut. So it's like a giga shortcut. And then I win. There we go. And this course, when you beat it, it has the ending jingle when you would beat a level from the original Yoshi's Island, which is just an extra cool detail packed onto the already amazing course. They didn't need to do that, but they did it anyways, and it just makes me love the course even more. So now we're going to be moving on to the final cup that we will be doing in today's episode, which is the Boomerang Cup. And this cup is actually a little bit different, because it doesn't just start with a Tour City track, it also ends with a Tour City track. So we're getting double the city track, and we'll be starting it off with Tour Bangkok Rush. And we're going to be racing against Nintendo Yuya, the Inkling Boy. Let's see how we do. So in my opinion, Bangkok Rush is just kind of an okay city track. Not good, not bad, it's just fine. I feel like that's the best way to describe the city. I have no real feelings or attachments to it, but also no, dislikes with it. It's fine, it's okay, it's got a cool music, it's got cool track design, it's got a pretty good layout, it's not too confusing. It's got... Actually, the shortcuts aren't the best. It's got one really cool shortcut, and the rest are kind of just whatever. It's also got a really cool alternate path as you can go up there. Doesn't really make that big of a difference, but it's there, so it's cool. I don't know if it's faster or not, but I'm just going to avoid it for now. It's also got these really weird things that are just thrown on here where you could cut the corner extra tight. I don't know if it counts as a shortcut or not, because you can take them whenever you want and you don't need mushrooms for them, and they're very, very easy to pull off. So I don't know if they're really shortcuts or just faster paths. But what is 100% a shortcut is right over here in the glider section. You can glide over here to this corner, and there's a patch of grass and a fence. You can fly over this and cut off that huge turn. It's a giant shortcut, and it's really cool. Ow, crabs! Darn, I ran into the side steppers. I'm not doing too well, unfortunately. I'm 2 seconds behind the ghost going into the final lap, so I'm probably going to lose this. Oh well, we'll just have to do it again. It's fine. It's no big deal, right? I guess I'll just use one of my mushrooms here in the straightaway section. And you know what? Let's go up the stairs for fun. There's basically no difference in going up or going down, except that there's gaps you can fall off of, which I didn't actually know you could fall off there. But it's basically the same. So there we go. We lost, unfortunately. We'll just have to do it again. Attempt 2. Will we be successful? Hopefully we will be, but we'll find out together. And honestly, I think I'm just gonna use a mushroom straight away at the startup. It might seem a little bit silly and foolish because I could just get a rocket boost, but using the mushroom will ensure that I get at the top speed no matter what. There's no risk, and the mushroom boost is much higher than the rocket start boost. The reason I'm doing that is because this course doesn't have any really big shortcuts. Other than that one really cool shortcut that I love in the glider ramp, which is super, super cool, there's nothing. There's nothing really all that special. Only like a tiny grass cut and that tiny, kind of unique corner cut. Actually, it's very unique. But it's not really more of a shortcut rather than like a faster path. There's like this. This is what I was talking about, the little corner cuts. That doesn't feel like a shortcut at all. It's not grand or whatever. It doesn't feel all that epic. And there is this tiny, tiny little grass cut you could take, which is probably not even worth going for. This tiny little cut you can make in that corner. There's not really any cool shortcuts. The only cool one is this one on the glider ramp. which you can only take once, by the way, and then you never see it again. I wish on like lap 1 and lap 3 there would be some cooler shortcuts you'd be able to take. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. I'm going to go wide and give those crabs their space, because last time I ran into them and it kind of ruined my race. We were 1.5 seconds ahead of the Ghost, which, you know what, I think that's enough to win. I just got to keep up the good effort. Alright, I'm not going to go up there just in case something bad happens, like I fall off, because that would be awful, and I'm at the end, and I'm quite far ahead, where I'm pretty sure I'm guaranteed the win. So we'll just head right over here, and there we go, we win. It just took 2 tries. The next course that we're moving on to is DS Mario Circuit, and we're going to be racing against Nintendo Pit, the Mario. It's not that surprising that we're racing against Mario. After all, it's Mario Circuit. It makes sense that we're racing against Mario, but it might just be me, but I feel like in the Booster Course Pass, we've been racing against a lot of Mario staff ghosts. I don't know if that's the case, but I feel like I've run into at least 5 Marios by now. As I said, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it feels like. I feel like I've seen so many Marios compared to all the other characters. There's a lot of characters in this game. There's like 50 or something like that, I think. But I just feel like I've seen Mario so much for some reason. And I mean, it makes sense. He's the main character. It's called Mario Kart for a reason. But I feel like I've seen Mario just so much compared to all the other characters. And I understand Mario's the main character, it makes sense to put him a lot. But I feel like there's some characters who I've just never seen appear in a staff ghost. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a Metal Mario. I know he's basically the same as Mario, but he's a different character. He has his own slot, so why doesn't he appear? I don't think I've seen like a Dry Bowser or like a Bowser Jr. I might be wrong, and they might have appeared, but I don't remember seeing them. Just weird, because, you know, there are definitely enough race courses to fit one for each character. But if they don't give one to each character, it makes me think, why did they give so many to Mario? I understand that he's the main character and also so he should probably get at least a few more than everyone else. But if there's some characters that just don't appear at all, that feels wrong to me. Well, you know what? I could just be hallucinating, and you know, they could just have appeared and I just don't remember them. After all, the ghosts aren't really all that memorable. It's just more of doing a race. But still, you get my point. I can't be the only one who feels like they've seen so many Marios everywhere. In time trials, specifically. Well, speaking of Mario, he's about to beat me, which is unfortunate. There's not really much I can do about it. I'll just have to do this course again. There we go. It might just be me, but I feel like the time trials are getting harder as we go on. Which, if that's the case, good. That should be the way it's been. So I feel like I've been struggling on Wave 4 specifically, way more than I did on Wave 1, 2, or 3. Which obviously makes sense, it's a later wave. The time trials, you would think at least, would be harder. Maybe I'm just playing poorly, but I feel like I'm struggling quite a bit more. Which, as I said, that's a good thing. It should get harder as you go on. I appreciate a good challenge every once in a while. As long as it's not like GCN Rainbow Road. That challenge was a bit too hard for me. If you watch some of my old videos, which, now that I think about it, are really old, they're almost like a year old, I think, now. Maybe 2? No, I think it's only a year old. But anyways, if you go back and watch my Mario Kart Double Dash playthrough, I failed GCN Rainbow Road a lot. And I mean a lot. And it made me quite upset. And, you know, I like having a good challenge, but GCN Rainbow Road was too much of a challenge for me. And maybe I've improved as a gamer, so maybe if I go back, I wouldn't struggle on it that much. But it was definitely a hard challenge. So, you know what, I like a challenge, but not too difficult of a challenge. Like, right now, this feels like a good challenge level for what I'm looking for right now. It's challenging where I might have to do it a few times, but it's not too challenging where I feel like I want to give up and like collapse on the floor. GCN Rainbow Road felt like that. But here we go. We're really, really close. We're just 0.2 seconds difference. I'm sure I can catch up. Come on. Go, Birdo, go. Well, we lost again, and this episode's getting really long. So I'm just gonna cut to the point where we beat this. Yes! Finally! I did it! Oh! Whew. You guys aren't gonna... You guys haven't seen this, but I've spent, like, 5 attempts. I did, like, 5 attempts off camera. It was super difficult. It's all gonna get cut out, so you guys aren't gonna see that. But I spent like 10 minutes on that one-time trial. I don't know why I struggled on this one so much in particular. Especially since it was a Mario circuit. You'd think Mario circuit would be easy. But no, I struggled on this one by far the most. More than DK Jungle. More than any of the courses combined. I don't know why I struggled on Mario circuit so much. But this was the hardest time trial I've done by far. And I'm glad that I can finally move on for it. For you guys, it was only like a 2-second jump, because I'm cutting all of that out. But for me, that was like a solid 10 minutes. And now, we're moving on to the penultimate course for today's episode, GCN Waluigi Stadium. And we're racing against none other than Waluigi himself, controlled by Nintendo Maria. Let's begin. I am very excited to play Waluigi Stadium, and there are 2 reasons why. 1, I really like Waluigi Stadium, and 2, I've been playing DS Mario Circuit so many times on repeat trying to beat the Staff Ghost that I'm just excited to play any course that isn't DS Mario Circuit. And in case you haven't noticed, GCN Waluigi Stadium is not DS Mario Circuit, so I'm very excited to play it. And hopefully, maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be able to beat GCN Waluigi Stadium on my first try. I highly doubt it, as the staff ghosts have been getting much harder as we've been moving on, but it would be nice if we could. So we've got a bit of a lead, and you know I like having a bit of a lead, because that means I've got more room for error. And you always know that some error will come. Alright, get the half-pipe speed boosts. They're definitely worth it to get. They're very big. Alright, we're heading to the final lap with a very big lead. Maybe not very big, but it's big enough for me. And it's a lot bigger than the lead I had when I finished DS Mario Circuit, so it feels like a big lead to me now. So I just gotta win. Go, 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 go. I think we have this in the bag, though. Our lead is big enough. I don't think he's catching up. And we beat Waluigi Stadium first try. There we go. A new record. I don't really care about how good my record is. We won. That's all that matters to me. So now, the final race for today's episode. Will we be able to beat it first try like Waluigi Stadium? I hope so. Do I think that'll happen? probably not. We're doing Tour Singapore Speedway. And we're racing against Bowser, the final boss for today, being controlled by Nintendo Alice. Can we do it? I hope so, but let's find out. Singapore Speedway is a city track where I have very similar opinions to it as Bangkok Rush. It's fine. It's not necessarily a good city track, it's not necessarily a bad city track. Although I do think it has very stellar music and a very stellar atmosphere, the course itself is just kind of bland. It's just a city track. I feel like that's the best way to describe it. So we're doing pretty well to start. There are no shortcuts on lap 1. I don't even know if there are any shortcuts on lap 2 either. I don't really know this course too well off the top of my head. Although, to be fair, it is a pretty difficult course to remember. Oh, well, there's a little mini shortcut I could take right here. I'll take advantage of that. It's hard to remember this course because it's got such a confusing layout because it is a city track. Most city tracks, except for Paris Promenade, have very confusing layouts because they change lap, or they change the way you go every single lap. Paris Promenade is the only exception, as instead of changing the way you go every lap, you just go backwards instead. Which is a lot easier to remember because you only have one layout to remember, instead of 3. And also, Tour Singapore Speedway is very unique because it's the only city track to have the third lap start in a different spot than the first and second lap does. Because all the other city tracks have the lap counter start at the same spot. Singapore Speedway does not have that for whatever reason. So, you know, it's just another unique thing about this specific city track. And look at this, a bunch of split paths we could do. We could continue flying, we could go over to the left, or we could drop down and try and avoid the Goomba Towers. Although they aren't too difficult to avoid, I must be honest. We do have a pretty big lead, though, and I like to see that, so we might actually, just like with Waluigi Stadium, be able to win this first try. That'd be really nice. And there's a big shortcut for us to take with our last remaining mushroom. We'll head to the finish line with a victory. And this victory is going to end off the episode. Wow. You know, that's a nice feeling. After spending so long on DS Mario Circuit, getting 2 wins in a row, first try, while normally isn't that big of an accomplishment, it feels like a big accomplishment to me now. And now that we've finished both Waves 3 and Wave 4 of the Booster Course Pass DLC for time trials, this is where we're going to wrap it up for today's episode of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.